Good morning and welcome to another version of our Inspiring Entrepreneurs. My name is Anne Hawkins and today I'm joined by my lovely friend Yasmin Chopin. Yasmin's going to talk to us about how she used social media to help her to grow her business. And she's just had a very exciting time. So I'm going to welcome her and congratulate her all at the same time and let her tell you what that's all about. So Yasmin, welcome to the Hangout.
Thank you, Anne. It's a delight to be here, and thank you for inviting me to my first Google Hangout. It's very exciting.
So start us off by telling us what you experienced last night and how that all came about.
Well, last night I was at the Rosewood Hotel in London, and it was an event organised by Amara Living, and they're a company, an online company that deal with lifestyle products. And Amara set up some awards, and this was the first year of the awards, and they are for bloggers. It's lovely to have blogging appreciated, and there were 11 categories, and I was nominated and shortlisted for the category of interior designer blogger. I didn't win the prize, but I was in the top 5, and it's a national award, and I was thrilled to be there.
Well, that's absolutely fantastic, and I'm sure next year you'll be right there with the winners.
I hope so. I hope so.
Okay, so let's go back to the topic of our talk today, which is all linked, of course, to where you ended up last night. So, tell us first of all when you started your business and how you became aware of social media.
Well, I've been working as an interior designer now professionally for 5 years, and before that I was in another life really. I was working in management for many decades. So I decided I wanted to change career, and I took a couple of years training to get my interior design qualification. When I changed careers, I realised I needed to, well, I was starting from scratch, so I needed to promote my business. I was very aware of what websites can do and how important they are to be your shop window. But blogging had only just started really then, and my son-in-law happens to have got into it quite quickly, and he was saying to me, you really should blog about your business, and that's one way to get it off the ground. And that's how I heard about blogging, and it did encourage me to start looking into it.
Okay, so blogging was your first foray into social media, and as you say, it really was the original one. Before Facebook and Twitter and all the rest came along, it had been going quite strongly. So what about the rest? How did you get into? Well, tell us which channels you use and how you discovered them and decided to use them.
Well, the blog and Twitter really came first. I'd heard about Twitter, and well, without the blog, the two go together really. You need a blog to be on top of it every day, to have something to say, and then once you've got that something to say, then you can spread the word through Twitter and other types of social media. I wasn't really into to many of the other formats. Obviously, I'd heard about LinkedIn and so on, but I think Twitter was the exciting thing for me. It was a bit weird the first time you start tweeting, but I'm so into that now. It's part of my life. It's part of my daily routine, and I'm tweeting all the time.
So there was a point, a phase that people went through in small businesses where they said, oh, you don't really need a website. All you need is a Facebook page. And that seemed to me at the time very short-sighted, because you have no control over a Facebook page and who visits it. But presumably what you were doing right from the start was drawing people back onto your own website and blog and using your real estate to capture information.
Yes, the whole point about the blog was to make people aware of who I was, what I do, and what services I offer. The problem I had at the beginning was that I had a website which I had no control over, because I'd got a website developer to put that together for me, and my blog was separate. I used Blogspot to start with, and that was nice and easy. It got me into it. It was a very good introduction into blogging. But what really made the difference for me was when I heard about WordPress. and you were the person that told me about it, Anne, a few years back now. But you mentioned WordPress, and for me that made the biggest difference of all, because I could then have control over everything. I took my website content, put it into WordPress, and ran my blog beside it. So for me, it makes absolute sense. It's so efficient and so streamlined.
That's great. Well, thank you for the little hat tip there. That's great. I'm a big advocate. I've been using WordPress for a long time now. So, so having got your blog and your website sorted out, and you tweeting, bringing people back onto your blog, and presumably signing up for a newsletter or to blog posts, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I offer on my website blog, I offer people the chance to sign up for a newsletter, and that gives me a wonderful group of people who I know are following the blog and who I can communicate with perhaps more personally, and I usually send out a newsletter once a fortnight. I don't like to spam people, so it's not a daily newsletter or anything like a lot of organisations send out. It's just once a fortnight, and I sort of do a roundup of what's on the blog, and then they can go and have a look at it if they want to. But I also let them know about things like the competitions that I'm running on my blog, and any other news where I'm going to be if people want to meet up. And I know a lot of other interior designers and students of interior design follow my blog, so it's nice to let them know where I'm going to be and meet up sometimes at trade shows and places like that.
Great. So, what's been the best thing about using Twitter for you? Or how did you get over because a lot of people do find it really weird to start with, so how did you get over that and start to use it in a more productive way?
I think really Twitter, yeah, you can spend your life on Twitter and not make it work for you, but to get in contact with people who are important in your own industry, that is something that's worth doing. To follow them, to see what they tweet about and get into conversations with them, that's really useful, because then you end up having a relationship with someone that on Twitter that perhaps you would never have done otherwise. You know, to meet important people in your industry and to connect with them, and then they tweet, perhaps retweet some of your tweets to their following is really powerful. And for instance, last night at the Amara Awards dinner, we had at the event, we had some important people there, and lots of people saying, "Oh, hello, Yasmin. I've seen you on Twitter, and we speak on Twitter." And you know, that's really quite exciting, because people recognise you from your photograph on Twitter. It's weird, but it's nice.
So far from being a virtual relationship, what it's doing is enhancing relationships in the real world for you, and getting you in contact with people that you wouldn't normally be able to reach.
Yes, that's absolutely right. And you end up making friends on Twitter, but when you can actually put that Twitter persona into a real life situation, which of course you can easily do, especially if you're in the same country, that really is very powerful. And you know, what better networking is there?
Oh, exactly. So what other platforms did you branch out into after you'd conquered Twitter?
Well, I do a little bit of Facebook, and I recently got into Instagram. I was advised a long time ago to get onto Instagram, but there's only so much you can do in the day, so I left Instagram for a while, thinking that that was perhaps not so useful for me. But when I realised that I could take photographs and then upload them to Instagram rather than take them through Instagram, then that's made the difference for me, because I like to develop my own photography skills and check what I'm doing before I upload it. So Instagram now is good fun for me, and I've met new friends on Instagram as well. And then it's quite nice how things link up. You see someone on Instagram that you've been tweeting with, and you see someone on Instagram that maybe you've seen their Facebook page, and so it sort of joins the circle, really. I'm also into Google Plus, but still struggling with that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people struggle with Google Plus, and to be honest, if it wasn't for the Hangout facility, I think a lot fewer people would be around it.
Yeah, the Hangouts are great, and I really want to learn more about them and how to run them, and I'd also like to get into podcasting, which I know you've been doing a lot of. But I think my blog will benefit from lots more video and audio, so that's my next push.
Great. So tell me how you analyse all the results of what happens on your website as a result of your social media activity.
Well, I use Google Analytics, which are obviously very available, and that's quite nice because it gives me immediate feedback when I watch it real time. That's really fun because I always have the real time up as a window on my computer. And when I tweet something and then start seeing a whole stream of people looking at the link, it's excellent feedback. I mean, you know you're having an effect, and you do need that when you're sitting on your own working your social media machine, and it's nice to have that. But obviously, Google Analytics tells you what's your best pages and how many people are visiting. And really, I like to just see the graphs going up. I keep a record every month of how many people have visited and so on, and the graphs are going up, and that's great. I know I'm doing the right thing.
Great. So is there anything there that you'd like to share with us in terms of what's the most successful way of bringing traffic onto your website?
Yeah, well, I am using Pinterest quite a lot. I mean, that's another aspect of social media I didn't mention earlier on, but Pinterest is very visual. It's full of pictures, and of course the people that are most likely to be interested in what I do as an interior designer are people who like to look at lovely pictures. And Pinterest is great. That brings a huge amount of traffic to my website, as does Twitter. But that's really working for me, and I enjoy it too. It's great fun, Pinterest.
Now, do you think you've got any work as a direct result of what you've been doing on social media?
Oh, definitely, for sure. It's always difficult to quantify. But a lot of my clients, when they contact me directly by phone or email, they say they've been on the website, they've checked me out, and of course what they get to when they get to my website is my blog. That is my home page. So they see immediately what I'm up to, and for them it gives them reassurance that I'm a real interior designer. I'm out there doing stuff, seeing people and reporting on trends, going to trade shows. It gives them confidence that I know what I'm doing, and that, that works.
Okay, great stuff. So the thing that always crops up whenever I talk to anybody about using social media, especially in a small business, is how much time does it take?
Yeah.
How can I possibly spend so much time doing that when I should be looking for customers or doing some marketing or all that kind of thing? So what would your answer be to that?
Well, I think you have to get your head round it. The important thing with social media is it does take time. It's an investment in your business and in your future. And for me, I consider the time very well worthwhile because it keeps your business healthy. It allows you to consider who you are trying to reach out to, why you're trying to reach out to them, what content you need to get together in order to make them interested and to draw them in and to attract them to your website. I mean, after all, there's so much competition out there. If you're not blogging and using social media, how are people going to find you? They won't. I mean, to get your Google rankings up, and people do find me by a Google search a lot, you have to have active content. So it's a no-brainer, but how much time it takes, whenever I'm not actually interior designing, I am using social media. And it's a lifestyle thing. Morning, night, weekends, evenings when I'm watching telly. Great Interior Design Challenge is on at the moment, and I'm tweeting using the hashtag while it's on. So, every opportunity to make contact through social media, I'm afraid I take. It might make me a boring person to my partner, but it's worth it for business.
Now, you you mentioned hashtags. Just to tell people what hashtags are, and in particular how you use them for your business.
Well, it's the little sign that goes da 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 da, and that sign, prior to a set of initials or a word, enables you to click onto it and follow everybody who uses that hashtag. So so many television programs are using it now. You're seeing it all the while. So by doing that, it means that you can link up with other people who are interested in that particular subject. We had one for the Amara Blog Awards, which was hashtag IBA14, and actually today we're already hashtagging IBA15. So next year's awards are already out there, and people are following the hashtag. So it's really good. I've got a hashtag for my business, which is Talking Interiors, hashtag Talking Interiors. And that's what I like to do, talk about interiors on social media.
Okay, so anybody who clicks on that hashtag on Twitter will find everyone who's talking to you and about you, and generally following the conversation on the content that you're producing.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and there's another way of using hashtags, isn't there, about specific times when people get together and talk on a topic?
Yeah, it happens a lot at conferences when people use a hashtag and they can communicate with each other at an event, and that works really well, or in a tweet chat. And I do get involved with tweet chats. In fact, next Friday, I'm going to be acting as a professional interior designer with House UK. And House, HOUZZ, House UK is an online interior design website, which is very exciting because it's an international organisation and they've recently set up a UK version. And I'm going to be the Twitter pro, answering questions to anyone who wants to get involved in the tweet chat. And this time it's going to be about how to clear the clutter.
Great. Yes, I recently started taking part in a similar thing, a Sales EU chat on a Wednesday afternoon, and that brings people together who are interested in social selling. And the number of new followers I got as a result of that was absolutely astonishing, and way out of my normal geographical area.
Yes, I was involved with, or still am involved with, an international, what's called Interior Designer Chat. It's an international chat group, and we get together on a Tuesday night. It's run from America, so it's a late night, 11 o'clock evening start here. But tweet chats are usually for an hour, so it's perfectly, you can manage it. And through that, I've made international connections on Twitter, and that's very useful because you learn a lot from other people, and you find out what helps their businesses and pick up good ideas to use in your own business.
Great. Now, just let's round up this conversation by talking about advice. So, what was the best bit of advice that you got when you started, or that you've picked up as you've gone along?
Well, other than the WordPress advice, the next great bit of advice I picked up, that was actually from a Twitter chat, believe it or not, with other designers, and that was about how, as a blogger, you can realistically call yourself press. It used to be that when you wore a press badge, you were writing for a magazine or a newspaper. But actually, you can call yourself press if you are a serious blogger. And for me, that was a light bulb moment, because it meant that I could actually go out there, use my camera, interview people with my audio machine, and I now do interviews and report on things that are interesting in an interior design way. So. Yes, that was a light bulb moment, considering myself as press, and it adds a professional image to what you do as a blogger. And I think the next thing after that was learning about PicMonkey and the easy way it is to manipulate photographs through PicMonkey. It's a free thing that you can get on the computer, and that has changed my life.
Oh, lovely. Oh, I'm sure there'll be lots of people going looking that up.
Oh, it's brilliant.
So, if someone was starting out, well, as we all know lots of people who are starting out, small businesses, sole traders, that kind of thing, and they come across this world of social media and it seems so horrendous, so complicated, so difficult to get into, and so time consuming, what would your best bit of advice be to them on how to get started and how to make use of it?
Well, I do understand how intimidating it can be. When I started out, it was, even just 5 years ago, it was much more simple than it is now, and I think it's going to keep getting more complicated, and there are going to be so many different opportunities using social media, and to start out from scratch is really tricky, and you need to know some basics. I've started helping people with that because I've picked up bits here and there along the road, and it would have been so much easier if I'd been given a package of information and good tips to start with. So I'm sharing that with some blogging training. I'm calling it Blogging for Business, and it's a quick start for a lot of people, particularly those who are like me, starting a business on their own, and you haven't got anybody else to ask.
Yeah, I think that's one of the wonderful things about being on social media. It's that almost everybody who's on it is happy to share what they've learned.
Yeah.
You just need to ask anything on Twitter or Google Plus, and someone will come up with an answer for you. It's just extraordinary. Yasmin, that's been just amazing, wonderful. It's great to hear how someone is actually making it work, because there's so many questions about, is there a return on the investment of time that I make? So it's good to hear that there is, and there's a simple and easy way of measuring it, and that you're really making it work. So would you like to leave us with any last thoughts?
Persevere. Definitely persevere, and edit down. Don't waffle. Make what you say really count. So I won't say any more.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, that is one of the drawbacks, isn't it, when there are no limits. I noticed this when people started posting, doing blog posts on LinkedIn, because there is no limit on the length. They would just be interminable. Waffle, 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 as though everybody's got all the time in the world to read this stuff. Yeah. And they simply haven't. So I think you're absolutely right. Short and sharp is much better, and posting more often. With short, sharp posts is a much better way than long, rambling things.
Yeah, so I gave myself a challenge actually this year to try and put a new blog post out every day. And it doesn't have to be long. It only need be a very short piece. But to put something out every day gives, I think, the input that blogs really need. So that's been a challenge for me.
Yeah, and there also is. I know we said we were going to stop, but we're carrying on. We're waffling now. No, it's not waffling. But there is also this business of social media is a real time thing for most people. So even if you do post every day, the chances of someone seeing that every day is quite slim.
Yeah.
So it is a case of little and often, and then you will reach more people like that, won't you?
Definitely.
So just to recap, what we're advising people is that the heart of their social media activity really needs to be their blog, bringing people onto their website where they can capture people's information. So one of my big things all the time is, for heaven's sake, do have a sign-up form where you get people's email addresses who are interested in your work. And don't rely on being able to contact them because they've just liked your Facebook page and will never see it again. So for me, that is the essential building block of all of this. And from there, you go to whatever platform your target audience is on, and as you so beautifully put it, you actually talk to them. You look at what they're doing, and you strike up conversations, and you build relationships. So it's not a case of banging out cheap marketing messages. It really is about taking the time to build those strong relationships and really make it work.
It's a people business.
Yeah, yeah, it really, really is. So, Yasmin, thank you very much for joining us. What I'm going to do when this goes onto YouTube is to put your website, your links to your blog, your Twitter account, your Pinterest, your Google Plus, all that kind of thing, so that people can link to you and find out more about what you do, and also, of course, ask your advice because you're such an expert.
Well, thank you, Anne. It's been a pleasure to talk to you in my first hangout.
Great. I'm sure it won't be the last. So thanks very much, Yasmin. We'll say goodbye now.
Okay, bye-bye, Anne.